What's going on, guys? Twin Timber Outdoors here with a quick informational video for the brand new fly angler. So how many guys get a brand new kit and they don't know how to assemble their gear and get out on the water? Well, this video is kind of tailored to them. So we're going to walk through how to assemble your rod, how to get your rig set up, and then kind of from there it's up to you to find information and things to get yourself on the water and catch a fish. So here's the first bit. We're going to take our rod, we're going to assemble our rod. Some rods have alignment dots, but many inexpensive rods do not. So basically we want to make sure that we're aligning them up correctly because that's very key and important to the actual spine or the flex of the rod. Now some rods, if they're a longer rod, this one is not that way, but the butt section of the rod will have to connect to another first piece that is the first ring guide on it. So when we do that, we want to make sure that our reel is on the rod itself, because that way we want the reel right underneath and making it a direct line with that first alignment or the first guide. So now that we've got our rod together, we want to put a reel on it. For today's purposes, we're going to be going with a budget reel here. And to put your reel in, I like to, there's a different school of thought. Some guys like to reel with their left and cast to the right. Some guys like to cast to the right and then switch hands and reel and fight a fish the other way. Personally, I like the prior versus the latter. So I'm going to put my rod together with my retrieval on the left hand side. So I'm going to get my rod together here. And then I'm going to start putting, sometimes rods will come pre-lined with a leader, sometimes not. So for today, I'm going to take my line, I'm going to pull it out of the rod like this. And while you're lining your rod, there's a couple different things you can do. What I like to do is I like to take my line with a good amount in front of my hand here, double it up, and I like to run my line through this way. Reason being is because nothing worse than lining your rod and finding out that whenever you get to, say, towards the end, the weight of the line will pull itself back through. And once you start doing it this way, it'll tend to do that rather than re-release itself all the way back through the rod guides again. Okay, so now we've got our line through our rod guides. And we want to make sure that they're all lined up and we're good to go. Now what do we do? Well, if you've picked up a tapered leader, it's very easy and simple to attach it. Usually, the tapered leaders come pre-rigged with loop-to-loop connections on it. A lot of guys will say nail knots. That works too, but for simplicity's sake, we're going to go with a loop-to-loop. So, I'll show you guys how I like to do it. I'm not going to unfurl the whole thing, but here's how I like to do it. I will pass the welded loop of the line itself through the loop of the leader first, like so. Then I will take the leader, the end of the leader typically, or I'll fold it like this, and I'll put this through the line, the line's welded loop, and then I will pull the whole thing through, and that gives a nice handshake, tight knot to knot, loop to loop. I'll find a different leader, get it all set up, and I'll show you guys what I mean. Rather than using an actual leader, I'm just going to show you using this piece of tippet here. It's level, so it's not going to be quite as tapered. Obviously, it's actually not tapered at all. But the knot that I like to use for the different flies depends on the type of fly and action I want. So if I'm fishing your typical dry flies or if I'm nymphing, I will typically use a clinch knot, a 4 or 5 turn clinch knot, depending on the diameter of the tippet. If I'm that's your typical fisherman's knot. But if I'm fishing, for example, a streamer, rather than a clinch knot, I'll actually be tying a non-slip mono-loop knot. That's it. That's your whole setup. If you want to create in your own leader and stuff is a whole different situation, but for now, this is all I like to do when I go out fly fishing for all kinds of species. There you have it. Hopefully you guys liked the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Hopefully these little quick videos until I can get things situated and improved are going to help the channel continue to grow. And hopefully it's informational enough for you to want to share with your friends. Hopefully, you found it informative. If you did, again, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe. Check out the other videos in the playlist. Until next time, guys, catch you guys on the flip side. Tight lines and We're out.